you will not be dissuaded. You say build more and learn from this in the process.
Well, that's exactly right, Brian. I mean, if we want a lot of reliable, clean electricity in the United States, I don't see any other choice. And it's important to point out that we've had gas explosions and coal explosions and oil spills, and deaths have come from those. In the United States, in our 104 commercial reactors, we've never had a death. We've been operating nuclear reactors in our Navy since the 1950s. We've never had a death. We've had one bad accident, 3 Mile Island. Not a single person was hurt as a result of that. So we need to learn from Japan, but we need to then go ahead with our own power program.
Now, we understand that we have not built a new plant since 1979. We also know that we have some online to be built, and I think it starts in Georgia. But you have France, Germany, you have China re-examining nuclear energy right now and the safety of our plants around the globe. Isn't that a warning sign that maybe we should heed to examine what we have before we build new ones?
Well, of course we should examine, and we're in no danger of building any new ones right now. It's been 30 years since we've built a new one. The Nuclear Regulatory Commission is going through very careful study of safety designs for the new plants that we'll be building. They'll take into account all of this. But remember, France is 80% nuclear power. They're very comfortable with nuclear power. If you want clean electricity, 70% of our electricity that has no sulfur or nitrogen or mercury or carbon comes from nuclear power in the United States.
And we know this, too. Even the New York Times and a lot of Democratic senators were for nuclear energy before this accident, and so it is somewhat bipartisan in its support. We'll see what happens after. Meanwhile, I want to move you on to something else, and that is the spending showdown taking place in the Senate. The debate begins in just a few hours on the continuing resolution as we try to get a budget plan just to get us to September 30th, let alone with the president released for 2012. Where are we at now?
Well, we're on the Republican side. We're trying to get the government to stop spending more than we have. That means we're going to pass today another $6 billion cut. If we kept doing that every 2 weeks, we'd make some progress. But what we're going to do after this, I think, is then pass a bill that reduces spending for the entire year. We're only 7 months away from the end of the fiscal year, and then we're going to get busy setting limits on long-term spending.
Well, I know one thing. Senator Marco Rubio has had it. He does not want to vote for a temporary spending bill and won't. And does this show some fracture in the Republican Party because they agree more with the House and are tired of the Band-Aids?
Well, I understand Senator Rubio's point. He's trying to send a signal that he wants more cuts. I'm trying to do the same, so I'm going to vote for $6 billion in cuts for the 2-3 week period instead of voting against $6 billion in cuts. It seems to me that taking smaller steps in the right direction is a very good way of getting where you want to go.
You know, it was about a year ago, Senator Alexander, when Vice President Biden whispered into the lapel of President Obama and says, "This is a big bleeping deal, Mr. President." And now we have the 1-year anniversary of the passage of health care. Wow, what a turbulent year it has been. Where are we at now with this?
Well, we're where we predicted we'd be. You know, we hear a lot of talk about unanticipated consequences. What we said a year ago was premiums would go up. They have. Taxes would go up. They have. Medicare would be cut. There are 11 million beneficiaries of Medicare Advantage who are losing some of that. There'd be unfunded mandates on states. There have been. So we've basically expanded a health care system that already costs too much instead of reducing the cost of health care so people could afford to buy insurance.
Right. And today, the former Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, is taking a bow for that historic moment. Should she be?
Well, it's historic, all right, but it was an historic mistake.
And we'll find out, too, because ultimately it's going to be decided in the courts whether you can actually mandate people to have insurance. And if they can't mandate it, you really have no plan. Senator Lamar Alexander, we covered a lot. Thanks so much. You're going to be a busy guy today, as usual.
Thank you, Brian.
All right. Meanwhile, let's go to Stephen Ainsley, also quite busy in their own special way.
Yeah, Brian, we've got the headlines for you right now. New information this morning.